advice for pre-dental students during COVID. The next question was about scholarships, advice to manage stress while studying for the DAT. Secondary essays. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be in two parts, just to put that out there. It's going to be a Q&A. One part is going to be pre-dental based questions that you all sent in, and then the other part is a lot of questions about dental school, and then I also got some kind of fun fact questions submitted as well. So I'm going to throw a couple of those in each video just for fun so you guys can learn a little bit more about me. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Haley. I am a first-year dental student at the University of Michigan School of Dentistry, and we're just finishing up our summer term when you're watching this. Part 1, we're going into finals week, and part 2 will already be done with our finals, so I'll be going into my fall term at the very beginning of September. Right now it's noon, so I'm on my little lunch break, so I just picked up Jimmy John's and I'm parked at a local park, and we're just gonna hang out and chat during my lunch break. Well, how else would we rather spend lunch, you know? Then I'll probably, once we're done, go for a little walk or just enjoy nature for a little bit. But I'm gonna reposition you guys so that I don't have to hold the camera up the whole time, so you're gonna be a little bit further away. I think this is the angle I've decided on. Hopefully you guys will get over it. A lovely steering wheel. I just had a few bites of my food because I was so hungry. But I have 4 pages of questions. Like I said, that's why I'm gonna do it in 2 parts, but maybe I should turn the air off. Is that better for sound? I have 4 pages of questions, and usually when I do question features on my Instagram, make sure you guys follow, I get 2, maybe 1 page of questions, so I got a lot more today, which is really exciting. I think it's just because I've kind of grown in followers and stuff, but I'm gonna start with all of the pre-dental type questions for this video. So there's some general pre-dental stuff, and then also, of course, there's always DAT questions. So first thing is, did you use any programs to prep for and study for the DAT? I used DAT Bootcamp to study, and then I also purchased DAT Destroyer books, but I barely used them, so I wouldn't even count them. I used the website DAT Q Vault as well, if you've heard of that. I believe that's pretty much it, but I will link and put in a card up here, and then also in the description of this video, my playlist for DAT and applications. So I did a video for every section of the DAT, a general overview of how I studied, interview tips, all those kinds of things. So this video will probably end up in that playlist as well, since it is more pre-dental advice. I used Bootcamp, and I thought it was a really, really great program, and even now they're still making it even better, so very much so recommend Bootcamp. Don't pay full price for Bootcamp. You should be able to find some discounts, whether it's through your pre-dental club. They can get a 10 or 15% off code for you, and then also certain influencers have DAT Bootcamp discount codes, and then the actual DAT Bootcamp Instagram and stuff, they sometimes do discounts or promotional specials, so follow their account in advance before you're planning on taking your DAT. I'll try to talk with my hands less, and then I'm holding my phone in this hand, so I'll try to relax my hands. This next one, we'll just do all the DAT ones right away, and then we'll get into other questions you guys had about applications and making yourself a competitive applicant and stuff. So this next one is, my DAT is in 3 weeks. I've done all the practice materials and tests. What should I be doing? So my first question to someone in the situation is, how are your scores? Are your practice scores where you want them to be? Because if they are, congrats. Just keep reviewing for your 3 weeks. If they are below what you want, which I know for me, 2 weeks out I had this big emotional breakdown, and I was really scared that I was not going to do well on the DAT, but I saw the most progression in my scores a week and a half from the test. In that last period, my scores kept going up a lot, which was really great during my studying. I'm just going to link the video below. It's called my #1 tip for increasing your DAT score. That's how I made my scores go up. So that is my advice to you if you need to raise your scores, is to follow that #1 tip. Someone asked any advice to manage stress while studying for the DAT. Like I just said, it's so normal, and my friends that have done and are doing MCAT as well all kind of have a similar timeline of X amount of week out from their exam, you kind of have a bit of a mental breakdown. And I say it smiling now because it's over, but it was a very trying period, and it was a really tough summer getting through it and making yourself study all day, every day, but you kind of just have to do it. For managing the stress, for me, I broke up my day. It's not as applicable for this summer, but for future summers, I broke up my day where I studied at home in the morning. I woke up pretty early, had breakfast, went to the desk, studied until the afternoon, and then I ate lunch, I went to the gym, and then I went somewhere else to study, either the library or a Starbucks. And in your case, I assume nobody can be going to libraries or Starbucks to study, so I would say have 2 different spaces in your house or apartment if you can, that you alternate between to kind of just get a change of scenery. The best way to manage stress is honestly to keep preparing. If you end up procrastinating and stuff, you're gonna feel more stressed, so just keep studying as much as you can, do your best, try to study your weaknesses, and I hope that your scores will improve and that you'll do very well on your DAT. Any advice for a pre-dental student that really wants to go to University of Michigan? So I would say that they really value having a diverse and like well-rounded class. Like, all of us are pretty different. Like, we have a lot of different experiences that we were involved in or different interests, and I think that in that sense, that's good because a lot of different people can fit in and be accepted. And I think that that's just a reminder to really show them who you are, not to try to like fit into any certain mold that you think that they'd want. Just really be yourself and show them what you're passionate about, whether that's within dentistry or outside of dentistry, like all your hobbies, all your interests, all the things you've been involved in. Make sure they really clearly see that. Do really great on your interview. They, I think, really value your interview skills, and yeah, just really being yourself and being your unique, truest self, because I think that everyone in our class is so different. So obviously it is a very competitive and well looked upon program, so you definitely need those high scores. You need a pretty high GPA and a pretty high DAT to be accepted. Mine weren't like off the charts. They were like good scores, but they weren't like off the charts, so you can be more normal and still get in to this school. But yeah, and also go to as many things as you can at the dental school that you're interested in. So if it's Michigan, go to as many ASDA days as you can. If they do any SNDA events at the dental school, open house, any of those events, try to go, try to be involved, or if it's on Zoom, tune in, because people remember you. Your name and your face will be remembered. And if you go to any of the schools in Michigan and the dean of admissions, definitely introduce yourself after the meeting. I know that freshman through senior year, dean of admissions for University of Michigan and then also for Detroit Mercy would come talk at our pre-dental club at Michigan State and in separate meetings, and I would always make it a point to go and introduce myself to them. And I just think that they remember the name, they remember a face, so trying to get to know and get kind of like in with the people involved at the school, whether that be admissions or whether that be students, just to get your name out there, get involved. And on your application you can list that you went to these ASDA events, you went to the open houses, you can list all of those so that they know that you've always been working towards their specific school. The next question was about scholarships, and do you apply for scholarships before dental school? Do they just give them to you upon admission? So there are lots of different types of scholarships. There are some scholarships through the military, which is the HPSP scholarship, Health Professionals Scholarship Program, and that you'd apply for, and if you were accepted, the military, whether that be the Navy scholarship or the Army scholarship or Air Force, I believe it's Air Force, Navy, and Army are your options. They will pay for your dental school, and in turn you owe them that many years that they paid your tuition of service and service as a dentist. So that's an option to pay for dental school, and then you also get a living stipend that can help cover your rent or any materials you might need to buy, like a laptop or something. Then another option is the National Health Scholarships Corps. That is another option that you could do, and that one you are basically, again, your tuition's being funded and you are agreeing to work in a community health clinic for X amount of years. And I just did a podcast with Dr. Jordan Brown where he talks a lot about the scholarship. So if you're interested, Dental Download podcast, that one's going to be up in September. So keep a lookout for that. And then other scholarships outside of kind of service paying back scholarships, there are scholarships through just like any general scholarship funds. So if it's through the Michigan Dental Association, whatever your state is, or if it's through your local, like there's dental associations kind of by like county, they're like different districts within your state, so they will have some scholarships usually available. There's scholarships through like big name companies, there's scholarships through perhaps the place that employs you, perhaps your undergrad institution, maybe your church or any other organizations that you're affiliated with, a cultural group. Any of that a lot of times have scholarships, and those you would be applying for on your own as well. And so outside of, these are all kind of separate scholarships you can apply for. On the flip side, dental schools will offer scholarships when they admit students. And that, for all the schools I applied to, you didn't have to do anything extra. They were just offered to you upon admittance. But some schools I know you might have to apply separately, but you can ask them that at your interview if a scholarship is automatically awarded to the individuals or if you need to do anything extra to apply. But basically when you get your offer of admissions and they call you or email you, if you got a scholarship, it'll lay out how much it is for each year. So it'd be like $10,000 for 4 years, and then that means $40,000 overall, something like that. So, and usually out-of-state students are more likely to get them, and then some could be merit-based, some could be need-based, so it really just depends on the school. Private schools sometimes will offer more scholarships because they know that their tuition is more expensive. Sometimes a private school will offer a scholarship that brings the tuition down to whatever your in-state school is. And then I've also heard that some students, if you have multiple acceptances and one school is more expensive but you would like to go there, you can call the school upon being accepted to a few programs and say that you're between them and this other program, and what's holding you back is the cost of tuition, and then sometimes they will then award you more scholarship after the fact if you let them know that you want to go to their program, but the cost of tuition is gonna make you go somewhere else. Sometimes schools will give you extra scholarship as well. But this is all a word of mouth and what I've heard. I don't even have any scholarship to dental schools. So another important thing that I wanted to mention about scholarships and like fees is that obviously the DAT is very expensive, but applying to dental school, you also know, is very expensive, and there is a fee waiver, an application fee waiver that you can apply to if you are in a state of like financial need. So that's just something I wanted to quickly throw in there, that if that applies to you, definitely make sure you apply for that early, because the spots like get filled up very quickly, because there are obviously a lot of people in need and applying dental school is expensive. So if that's something you need to do, make sure you figure out the due dates and apply for that well in advance. Next question was about secondary essays. So what tips do I have for them? I would just say answer the prompt, really. You just have to be very to the point with the prompt. Some of them are pretty long essays, like 2,500 characters or something. Some might only be a couple hundred characters, and obviously you want to be concise. I think for secondary essays you don't need to use the whole character count, but you probably should. I think that, for example, if the prompt is like, how will you be involved at blank dental school? Or like, why should blank dental school accept you? I took it as, who am I going to be in their class of 90, 50 students? Like, what is my role going to be? How am I going to help my peers? How am I going to contribute to a good learning environment? How am I going to be involved in the student organizations? What traits do I have that would make me a good student? How do my values align with the values of the school? Those are some things that I would talk about, and if you know anyone at the program that goes there, if you visited the city, you definitely want to throw those things in there. Or if you've gone to, like I said, like ASDA events, you definitely want to let them know that you've always been interested in their program, because these schools really don't know if you would just pick them off a list and applied, or if like this is your dream school. They really don't know, so you need to kind of show them that through your answers. Okay, so I have 3 more questions I'm gonna answer. So the next one is, are we doing in-person classes in the fall? And then this person is an incoming freshman to college, so they said that they were feeling a little nervous, and then they also asked me my favorite food. So quickly, favorite food is pasta. I love Italian food. Pasta's just like my go-to. And my least favorite food, I think, is like seafood, whether that be, again, like straight up like lobster and stuff, or if it's like sushi. I just like don't really enjoy it that much, but pasta I love. And then as for in-person classes in the fall, no, our lectures are going to be all virtual, but we get to go into sim lab. As of now, things can change. We get to go into sim lab with our class divided in half, We have 109 students, so it's going to be around 50 in like group A and group B, and each group gets to go twice a week to work in sim lab on our hand skills. And then the third part, answering the third part of your question about being nervous for college classes and just nervous in general for college. College is great, and I am such a different and grown person from when I started 4 years ago as a freshman at Michigan State. So just don't expect things to happen overnight. Don't expect really anything. Try to have really low expectations, not like in a bad way, not thinking it's going to be terrible. Just have like no expectations, I guess, is maybe the better way to say it. Don't expect that you're going to develop a certain way, or that classes are going to be really good or be really bad, or you're going to make a lot of friends. You aren't. Just like try to go in with pretty much no expectations and work hard, trust yourself, listen to yourself, and notice what's working and what isn't working, whether that be your balance for your health, physical health, mental health, whether that be within your classes and your studying, whether that be people you're hanging out with, if they're bringing you joy or bringing you down. Just like be very self-aware and try to just be as positive as you can and make the most of it, and just get through each day, each week, and then somehow the weeks are going to fly by so quickly, and it's going to be winter break, and then you're going to be done with your first year, and then you're going to be done with all 4 years, and it's nuts. I'm also going to link below, because this is making me nostalgic, my senior year recap video, and I'll put it up here as well, because that video is very sentimental to me. It like always makes me cry reflecting back on my senior year. But that is my answer to your question. All right, I'm gonna answer one little fun one, and then we'll do one more pre-dental question, and then we will wrap up, because I know this video is getting a little bit long. So this person asked, any good book recommendations? So to preface, I am not a reader. I think I read like 5 books, like all of high school and college combined probably, but I read a lot of books in my break before dental school. Not a lot, but a lot for me. So Such a Fun Age is a really good book. It's fiction and it's awesome. The next one I would recommend is A Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. I would also recommend the book Grit by, I believe, Angela Duckworth, I believe. The next one I would recommend is The Defining Decade, Why Your 20s Matter and How to Make the Most of It. Those are all really great books, and I think they will boost your mindset and and just like improve your perspective on life. And they're very good reads. They're very quick reads. They keep your attention. So those are the books I would recommend. All right, so this last question says, advice for pre-dental students during COVID. It's hard to shadow, volunteer, etc. So especially, I know in the summer it's been hard. Finishing up your spring term, it was hard. And honestly, even going into the fall, depending what state you live in, it's still gonna be hard, especially if you're staying home for classes and stuff. But my advice would be to try to do online volunteering. There's different like platforms where you can kind of be a communication resource for people that need it, whether they're like sexual assault victims or people having like mental health crises. You can get trained online to then be like a responder for them, or someone to talk them that they can talk to, and then obviously if need be you'd refer them to someone if it was a more serious situation. But those are really great ways to get volunteering hours, and also it'd be really rewarding, I think. Food banks and stuff, I believe, are still open, and you can still volunteer there if you feel comfortable doing so. For shadowing, I think you just gotta be really committed. I know that now offices have been open for, at least in our state, for like a couple months now. So I know my pre-dental friends that are younger are able to shadow now. So hopefully, dentists, if you just keep being persistent and calling around many places, you'll find someone that will let you come in. I know it's tough, but also people will be understanding, and you might have to make up a little bit more later on, but keep filling your time with hobbies, so you can say that you did all these things for things you're passionate about, your different hobbies, or whether that be going to different like Zoom events for like ASDAs around the country, because maybe before you couldn't have gone to an ASDA event for a school that's across the country because usually they're in person, but now that they're in Zoom you can tune into them. So just try to still be as active as you can. Think of creative ways to volunteer, and just try not to get too discouraged, and know that everyone is in the same boat as you. Be very persistent, and this is gonna pass, and you will have opportunity to do these things eventually. So just try to keep filling your time time with whatever makes sense for your situation and wherever you're currently living and what is safe and comfortable for you. Alrighty, that is the end of this Q&A, the kind of first part of our two-part Q&As. So I hope you guys like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.